Good evening, everybody. Matrix here, and here is my watch list for January 37th. All right, taking a look at the futures right now. Let's go to the monthly chart first. Okay, real quick. Hello, there we go. Monthly chart. Is this the monthly chart? Yeah, here we are. Zoom out a little bit. As you can see, we have a very predominant trend line forming here from when the bear market started, or from the initial drop off started, right? And right now we are following this downtrend line. Overall, I think we are getting a little gap down from the after hours close of the market today. I think tomorrow the market's going to bounce up and try to test this 260, 2650 area again, hit this trend line and fail from there. This looks like it really looks like a descending triangle pattern to me. So by the time it presses down in the next few days, if this support snaps, then we are coming back down. Okay, so with that said, let's take a look at the SPY. Now, after hours, we did get a little gap up and a run, but the futures is indicating that it's getting pressed down at the 265 area, right? So like I said, I think we are going to get a little pop into this 265 area and then fail. 265 is a very predominant prior support, now becomes resistance, also a key psychological whole number. Let's see how far back I can go here on the 1 minute chart. Let's do 15 minutes. And you can see 265, okay? Do the daily chart, gonna mark off the 265 real quick. And let's take a look at that. So essentially it is kind of like the VWAP of the daily chart, right? There's the 265. Where's that downtrend line I've drawn? Downtrend line somewhere like this, right? If I'm drawing it correctly, as in I'm drawing it the same on futures, yeah. It's kind of like that. So this downtrend line meets the 265 area, basically the VWAP, and that's my plan for tomorrow. I still think we are going to come down a little bit. It's looking like it's rolling over. From the looks of the daily chart, though, I mean, it's trappy. It's trying to hold the 9, but it's not holding the 9. It's actually holding the 50 SMA pretty well. So we'll see if it breaks down from there. But that's my thesis on the SPY, a pop and a drop. Okay, we are seeing aftermarkets gap up, all because of Apple's earnings. Okay, so this is where we closed, and then it ran up a little bit, all because of Apple's earnings. With that said, let's get into the watch list. And of course, how can we not start the watch list with Apple with its earnings coming out? Now, I added this blue line today. This is a 100 EMA on the 1 minute chart. So 100 periods. Okay, basically that correlates to the 20 EMA on the 5 minutes chart. So 20, 25 EMA. So 25-minute periods equals 100 101-minute period. So it's the same as the 20 EMA on the 5 minute chart. So this is the blue line. Now, I don't think I'm going to be using this blue line much tonight while I'm making the watch list. I just plotted it on. But anyways, the watch list. Okay, Apple's has a positive earnings reaction right now. I am looking at the 165 key psychological whole number area. Okay. There's a few ways I think about this. I mean, if we look at the beginning of the year when this dropped, okay, first of all, we have the tariffs and the trade war going on. Second, this drop was when they say, when they were cutting their guidance, okay, pre-warning. And then we had a little run back up. So that I think this was a very strategic kind of pre-warning for the market, telling the market, oh, our guidance is going to be bad. And they got this to dump. That way, when they do come out with earnings, it wouldn't seem as bad as if like they've already warned investors already, right? Right now we're sitting at a little bit at like 163, so I'm going to mark that off. Okay, so that's where we're sitting. I will be watching the 165 key psychological whole number to test and double top from there. We're gapping up, so I'm expecting Apple to pop and fill the gap, like a pop and a drop, and then fill the gap back down to the 158 area, which is for the past few days has been prior support. Okay, now I'm not saying that Apple cannot run. I just think that the gap needs to be filled. Okay, we are at the 50 SMA area right here. Okay, at the 164 area. 165 key psychological whole number along with a lot of chart resistance. This is a very nice interim resistance right here. Okay. And I also like to mention if it does reclaim 165 and breaks out, I think this is a 170 mag, but I don't think Apple can go higher than 170 tomorrow, simply because of the bag holders in the stock. Okay, and specifically, I'm looking at let's zoom in right here. The reason why I call 170 a bag hold area is basically this. Okay, on this day it dipped, held 170 and double bottom. A lot of people bought in. On the next day it dumped. Okay, basically it dumps, and whoever's holding the bag at this 170, they're holding the bag here, and then short sellers piled in, covered up, dump again. Actually, okay, so we have long-term buyers here at 170. We actually have long-term buyers here at 170 as well, right? So we see this massive reversal, and then that would entice people to buy. And then once this gapped up, sold off, and then open, gap up, and then as it ripped, sold off, gap up, dump. Yeah, they bought here. They definitely bought here this day, right here. Let's take a look at this day. See this doji day? Whoever bought this 170 area, next day gap down. All right, let me move this bubble out of the way. Next day literally gapped down, and they had no chance to get the hell out at all. It gapped down and sold straight off. They had no chance to get the hell out. And this is the day why I'm calling this the bag holder 170 area. Okay, because of this gap down. All right, whoever bought this 170, it basically opened at near 170, and then it dipped, held, and ripped, and then it came up, right? But once it held this 170 and it ended up positive above 170, 171 area, there were bag holders, man. And whoever held this overnight got crushed. And this is why the 170 area is very key. I think the bag holders, if it gets near this 170 area, I think the bag holders will finally have a chance to get out. Okay, like I said, currently it's at 163 area. I'm looking for a little pop. Show me like a double top at 165, and then I'll hammer it at the double top and potentially bring it back down to first 160 and then 158. Okay, that's Apple. Next up, Xerox XRX. Okay, the way I'm looking at this, this is super overextended. Look at how many days this has run, man. I mean, it's just stupid. And today we had a massive volume and a breakout. I think a long-term short finally got out of the position when it gapped up here. But what I'm watching is I'm watching for the reaction at 2750s. Okay, so let's mark that off. Okay, as you can see, this was prior resistance right here, and then we have like a little resistance line right here. Zoom out just a tad. Okay, draw a horizontal line. We also have prior support, now is resistance, 2750. Very nice psychological number. Okay, look at all that. Okay, if it breaks out, then 28 should be able to hold it down as well. So it'll give me two chances. Ideally, I want to see a gap up into the 2750 area and then fail. I want to short it right back down to at least the 200 SMA here at 2650. Look at how extended this is from the 9 EMA, and I think it needs a day to pull back. Mark off the highs, mark off 2750, and watch these areas. This stock ran up on an earnings reaction. I believe the earnings reaction was today. Yeah, so it had positive earnings, and I do expect a little pullback, a profit take tomorrow. The stock has an average true range of 88 cents, so watching it come back down for $1, I don't think that's too much to ask. That's XRX. And then we have Whirlpool, WHR. WHR had a bad earnings reaction last night. It got sold off, and today, all of a sudden, have no idea why it came back up. Like, the earnings guidance was terrible. I can tell you this much, that this whole action here, all this stuff, this was a squeeze. Okay, so a lot of shorts are in this right now, getting squeezed. They might be holding still. Zooming back out a little bit, we have prior resistance right here in this area. So for resistance, I'm looking at 137.50s right there, as well as 138s, right? Yeah, 138s. So I'm gonna mark that off right around there, and 140. Okay, key psychological whole number. This stock is super extended. Came up on a short squeeze today. So let's scroll back a little bit. Yeah, I really do like the 140 area, but it's so far back, right? I like 140 just because it's a whole nice psychological whole number, and because the stock is so overextended, I don't see it get up even more. Okay, whoever bought this run up or this squeeze, they should be taking some profits tomorrow. Let's identify some support here. We have 134.80s to 135. So this mark and this mark. Let me see here. Yeah, 134.80s. Why did I pick this zone? Sorry, just checking my notes here. Bear with me. Okay, so, right here. All right. So right there, and we have 135. So this is a support zone, a very near-term support zone with key psychological whole number of 135. You see how it topped out here at 134.80s. Okay, it tested, it broke out, it tested, broke out again, came down, snapped a little bit real quick, and then held, and then ripped again. So this is a key support area, in my opinion. If it gaps up, then of course I'll be looking for the short around this area here. And as I mentioned, 138, right? 138, and maybe even 140. But if it gaps down, or if it's opens flat out the gates, I'm expecting a profit take, and there should be a dip. If this 135 holds, form like a double bottom or higher low, then it's still a continuation to the upside. You can take a long here. Okay, let's see. I do like this uptrend line right now. Hold on. We do have a pretty promising uptrend line here. So always mark this off and see how this line reacts. Okay, if it starts holding, it's gonna rip. If it snaps, then it's gonna dip and try to hold this area. If this area snaps, the next area of support we have right here, 133 area. Okay, and that's Whirlpool. Facebook. Coming up after hours. I like how the price is where it's at right now, very close to the 146.30. Okay, so I'm gonna mark that off. 146.30 I've been talking about for a few days now. It's a key daily chart resistance area, as well as 148. So let's zoom in a little bit. 146.30. Right about here. Okay, so we have a very nice interim support area right here. Okay, so we're a little bit under right now, around the 150, 145 area. So I want to see a pop and a drop. So a pop, hold it down, drop, bring it right back down. Facebook is having earnings after hours today, so I do expect the stock to sell off a little bit before earnings. We have immediate support at 144, which is today's closing price. Today it had a little trouble regaining back 144 here late day. And during the lunchtime low, it held 144 as support. So eventually it finally snapped, came back up, couldn't get over, but then we had Apple earnings pushing it up, pushing the whole of the market up, right? So it broke through. But 144, a very key mark, and 143.5, we saw a double bottom here today. So a double bottom, okay? That's Facebook. And then eBay. I'll be watching for, it had earnings today, and the earnings reaction is pretty mixed. It popped initially and then got dropped. I'm watching the 34 mark. Okay. So right now we're at 33.40. Because of this drop, I think short sellers did pile in. I'm looking for a cover pop tomorrow out the gates into the key psychological whole number of 34 and sell off. Now, the reason why I picked 34 is not just today where it topped off. It's yesterday where it held support as well, right? So it broke out, sold through, tested, and failed. Okay, so 34, very key psychological resistance area. Even on the daily chart, you can see it's just a tad above the 200 SMA. But from the looks of this, eBay does not want to have anything to do with the 200 SMA at all, right? If it wanted the 200 SMA, it would have held it, not chop right through it. Okay, so I'm going to disregard this 200 for now, and looking for a pop into 34 and drop. I want to see 33.50 is a key support area, as you can see. Okay, I want to see the snap, and that way we can bring it back to the 33. Okay, overall, this is still just a tad extended from the 9 EMA, so I do think there is more downside to the stock. Okay, so that's my watch list. We have 5 tickers, including 2 more tomorrow before the market opens. We have Boeing, which is BA. I'll be watching Boeing, very nice ranger for their earnings report, and a very nice ranger, right? Boeing can have potential to go for like 5 to 6 points a day, if not even more. And then we have McDonald's, MCD. MCD is announcing earnings tomorrow at the open as well, so I'll be watching that. Yeah, that's it for my watch list. If you like what you watch, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. And I'll see you guys all bright and early tomorrow. Ciao.